Okay, this is part two. I ran out of storage space on the other deal I was trying to make. So, um, the, um, the doctor lived on the property, Luis. His father lived in a place called Reynosa, right across the border. I think it's a border town. They got a lot of factories, excuse me, and stuff there. And his father lived in Reynosa. He said in Reynosa, people don't come out after dark. He said, I don't know why my father lives there because he got money. He said his wife is from there. He said, but he don't have to stay there, but he does. He said, when I asked him, have you, how does this stuff play out? Have you seen it? What's the real deal down here? He said, well, most of the time you don't see it. He said, but sometimes you do. He said when he was a kid, I think he was in Reynosa. He lived there going to high school or something. And he said he was in a car with his father, somebody traveling somewhere in the city. And the police were chasing some of these cartel, they call them narcos in Mexico, chasing some narcos. And the method of getting away the narcos chose, they just start shooting people on the street. Kids and everybody, innocent people, bodies dropping. He said he saw bodies dropping left and right to get the police to stop chasing them. I was at a fitness center I belonged to. And one of the guys working there, he eased up, asked me different things, and, something had happened, so I'm nervous now, paranoid with everybody. I'm going to what happened in a minute. And he was just trying to peg me, what's up with this guy? He don't speak no Spanish, and he let me know. He said, you kind of stand out. People see you don't speak no Spanish. You have to watch and be careful because they know you're not from here. So we got to talking, and they bring this conversation to me, these people that I've come across down here in Tijuana. He said, he talking about the crime and stuff, and it reminded me so much of the brothers in the U.S. He said the youngster, he said some of them in here. He said some of them come in here working out. They involved in the narco thing. And he said he talks to them and try to figure out why they choose that lifestyle. And, they sound just like the brothers in the U.S. They ain't got many choices. They back us up against the wall. And he said something that they tell him that's in the same vein as 3 hots in a cot. The jail and population in the U.S., they call it 3 hots in a cot. Going to jail ain't nothing but going in there and, you get 3 meals a day and somewhere to sleep. And that's how they look at it. Even though the conditions are horrific in Mexico, people get conditioned to their environment all over the world. Same way in Mexico, the young people. It's sad, but it's true. And I said, well, I asked him and the doctor, what do you think? I mean, is it going, what do you think 10 years from now? Better? They say no. I said, what's the solution? They say no solution. I don't think I'd get that answer in America. When I ask these cats in Mexico, what's the solution to all this violence down here? Is it going to get better? No, it ain't going to get no better. And what's the solution? No solution. They said because, well, I forgot what they said because of, but that's what time it is. It ain't going to get no better. It's going to get worse. Said because the younger generation is worse than they used to be 10 years ago, and the future will be worse than that. That's what they're telling me. So I'm asking the cat in the fitness center, was it always like this, or what was it like when you were growing up, in Mexico? He said, no, it wasn't always this bad, but it was bad even when he was growing up from what he told me. He said, when I was growing up, he said, when the narcos come to your house to get you, they call you outside and they murder you outside. He said, now they come in and murder your whole family. And he was talking about these young cats at this fitness center, and he was talking to them, well, what about your family, man? You're putting them at risk too. They say, well, if it go like that, that's just how it goes. That fatalistic mindset, they just accept that doomsday scenario. Oh, good Lord have mercy. And I'm telling you, it's the same in the black communities in the poor areas in the U.S. That same fatalistic, this is what we got to do, and, going to jail ain't nothing but a thing, this, that, and the other, but it ain't nothing nearly as extreme as Mexico. Believe that. You think America's bad, the violence and the murder, it ain't nothing compared to what's going on in Mexico. That's the honest to God truth. 7, 8 murders a day, 365 days a year in one place. They say the same way with Acapulco. I met a girl from Acapulco in 1993. I was in Mexico the first time, sister, and I didn't know black people lived in Mexico at that time, and she told me she's from Acapulco, and I just knew it as a tourist haven, but now it's one of the deadliest places in Mexico. You got to be very careful. The thing is, people live there. Most of the time, nothing happens to them, foreigners and strangers, but it does happen to them too, and you have to be careful, and Lord, don't go down there with that drug thing, getting involved with the crime and clowning. Because you don't impress nobody in Mexico with clowning, loud talking, and tough guy stuff. It don't work in Mexico. These people know about that. They got that Aztec blood. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what the real shocker for me, wake-up call was for me. My friend Daniel Sanchez, I went to Hong Kong. That's the name of that strip club. It's the most popular one, most famous one in Tijuana. It's called Hong Kong. Hotel connected with it. Big red building, too, several stories tall. Go inside, it's elegant, it's upscale, it's nice, 3-4 dance floors on each level, and the women are beautiful. So, me and my friend Daniel, he lived on the same property I live on, was living on. I stayed there for a little while, but I had to get out of there. Didn't have to, but, just worked out like that. So I met Daniel when I first moved on the property, April 3rd. I met Daniel. He got a motorcycle. He's from California. He's been going across the border for 10 years. He's been living in Mexico for the most part for 10 years. He's a Mexican-American by heritage. Speaks Spanish, fluent, conversing with the culture. That's who he is. He's part of the culture. Been living there for 10 years, back and forth. He was selling cell phones when I first met him. Then he was talking about buying cars, at the auction, taking them back to the U.S. and selling them as a hustle thing. He'd been to the Philippines, had a girlfriend over there, trying to marry her, this, that, and the other. I've been to the Philippines. He was talking about going to Colombia on one of them dating deals, find him a wife down there, So we had a lot in common, not just with that, traveling in, certain places, but he knew about some things that most people don't know about. Fringe issues that attract me too, and so we connected on a number of different levels.